Hello everyone, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. Last time we left off, we were in class. I think Kenji warned us about Lilly being evil or something, I can't remember. The grand feminist conspiracy is quite complex. You need to have at least, 200 IQ to even understand it. Piling my books into my bag, I catch a glimpse of the library books I'd borrowed last week. I might as well return them, considering they took all of 2 days to finish. How many books did you pick out? Also, how difficult were they? Also, how much do you read? I briefly considered inviting Hanako along to the library, but she's already gone. It'll probably be better for my studying if I'm alone anyway. With a quick stretch and a wave to a couple of classmates who give me the same to me, I make my way out of the classroom. I notice, as I open my bag and shove the books into the return slot in the front counter, I notice a strange person behind the desk, old and graying. She must be Yuko's replacement when she's working at the cafe. I began looking for a free table, a task made somewhat difficult considering that despite there not being many students in here, they're all sitting at their own tables. I notice a familiar head of hair. I walk over to one. Noticing a familiar head of hair, I walk over to one near the braille section. It's hard to tell whether or not Lily's concentrating or not. Her placid expression holding perfectly still as her fingers slide across the dot-filled pages of the book. Hi. Mind if I sit here? Oh, no problem at all. She trails off, evidently still focused on her business at hand. Ah, Hisao. She gives a nod of greeting as I sit opposite of her at the table. Pluck a chemistry book out of my bag and quickly thumb through to the chapter we're covering in class. For a while, we sit there and read, each in our own way. Seeing her reminds me of what Kenji said this morning. That and the fact that I've never seen someone read in Braille before makes me keep throwing glances at her. I kind of feel guilty about it, given that she has no way to realize I'm doing so I decide to just ask her about it. Her lineage isn't exactly a state secret after all, and there is another thing I've just noticed from her movements. Hey, Lily, mind if I ask a question? Not at all. Not at all. Is anything wrong? I was just wondering, you're at least part foreign, right? She gives me a small giggle before setting down her book. I've always been amused at how squeamish people are about that. Akira's mentioned how she and I look different from most others here. The details are a bit complicated, but I'm half Japanese, half Scottish. Scottish. That wasn't exactly my first guess. It takes some effort to not blurt it out loud. I hope we never meet Lily's Scottish dad, otherwise I'm going to have to do a bad Scottish accent. I try to conjure images of the place in my mind. I think as far as the UK goes, Scotland isn't bad to live in, but I'm not really sure. My first guess of England was surprisingly close, at least geographically. That does leave another question, though. But you have no accent. That's where the details begin. I was born and raised in Japan, despite my mother being foreign. Oh, so her mother gets the bad Scottish accent. I get it. Hold on, if she moved to the dorms simply due to Kieran's longer working hours, so they don't live near the school. She gives a small sigh as if she doesn't expect me to go any deeper. Was her previous frankness just a front? Not exactly. It's been a long time since we've actually met. I feel I'm not getting the whole story, but I don't really want to go into unduly prying into her situation. Her about face shows she feels kind of awkward about it. So do you speak English? I mean, to be honest, I don't know that much about Scotland, but at least I know that it's the main language there. It takes her a moment to collect herself, appreciating the change in topic. That's right. My family mostly used Japanese around the house when I was young, but they made sure Akira and I knew our Scottish side just as well. I'm fluent in the language, but I'm also studying it in school to keep my skills up, to have qualifications on paper mainly. So you're bilingual. That's pretty impressive. I like a girl who knows how to use her tongue. Wink, 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 wink. That is absolutely abhorrent. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. Having parents who can't speak the language is who can speak the language is a large advantage, and English books in Braille aren't too hard to buy or import, with Yuko's help at least. There's a relatively high demand for local English teachers here anyway, which also gives me some motivation to learn it well. Demand for English teachers? For a moment I wondered why she brought this up. You're planning to be an English teacher? She gives an enthusiastic nod. It must be nice having such a definite future in mind. I've never given much thought to mine, so I'm kind of envious. What's wrong? It's just... I could see you as a teacher pretty easily. It suits you. For a moment she's speechless. She lowers her face a little and lets out a nervous giggle, something I've never seen her do before. With Lilly's role as class representative and her dependable nature, teaching does seem to be a line of work fitting her personality. Sorry, that was probably a little too much. But it's true though. Waving her hand in front of her face dismissively, she quickly recovers. It's not just that. It's not that. It's just that only one person's ever said that to me before. A short, somewhat awkward silence follows the discussion. Without knowing it, I ended up steering into a troublesome topic again. I should try to cheer up a little. It was me who went and got her brooding after all. Want to go grab lunch at the cafeteria after this? It might perk her up a bit, or at least take her mind off her apparently complicated family situation. Going by her smiles, it seems to have had the intended effect. I appreciate the thought, but the food there... Quite a quick redirection of conversation. She does have a point, though. The food there isn't the greatest. Maybe the Shanghai? We could ask Hanako if she wants to come as well. What is it? I almost forgot until you reminded me. Hanako's birthday is coming up soon, and I was going to go shopping in the city for a present tomorrow. If that's an invitation, I'd be happy to accompany you. The ability to get more used to the layout of the city would probably be a good thing. Yeah, the layout of the city, I've barely set foot in there, so I'd be hopelessly lost by myself. She gives a nod, signaling that she happily approves of this plan for Sunday. We eventually get back to our books, though before I begin reading again, I steal one last glance at her. Maybe I've been thinking on my situation too much. After all, everybody here would have their own unique circumstances. The chance to get outside and clear my head will probably do me good. Lily's a nice girl. At least so far. If she turns out to be evil, I might, abort this relationship, not anything else. Bored of standing in place and watching the television in a shop window, I pull myself away from the tacky display with little effort. After living at Yamaku, the city seems like a entirely different world. No running in the hallways, calm and orderly conduct used at all times. Is to be used at all times in the classrooms. Students are to exit rooms after checking both directions for oncomers. Elevators are reserved for movement-impaired students. Single file on the staircase. Compared to such a strict, almost regimental standards, the city shopping arcade might as well be a strange country. While the school may have its fair share of hustle and bustle during the festival, the outside world is much different. It's strange, having lived in a metropolitan area before my accident, this should feel more natural than Yamaku and the surrounding town ever could. Yet it feels foreign somehow. The elevated walkways and tall buildings, each adorned with billboards taller than any 3 people, don't do anything but distract me from the passing crowd's reactions. Ooh, it's that outfit we saw in the cutscene. Lilly keeps one hand on my shoulder, and the other holding her cane, which taps the ground like a metronome, with a metronome-like steadiness. Looking over to her, that neutral smile of hers still holds. Having only seen her in school uniform, I'd not have recognized her as she sat on a bench waiting for me to come, if not for her cane propped up against her and her distinctive hair. I can't tell whether they're glancing at her due to her height, her foreign looks, her obvious blindness, or all 3. Not that any of those would make this situation any less comfortable than it is. Do you have any ideas of where to look first, Hisao? Her soft voice breaks me out of my line of thought. Can't imagine that she's failing to notice the attention she garners, but she seems unfazed by it. I get the feeling she's the type to enjoy walking outside, so she might be used to it by now. Not really. This is my first time in this city, so I've got no idea where to go. She furrows her brow in thought, planning a route for us to take, and come to think of it, a way to communicate it. Something I'd noticed in the time I've been with her is how, when in deep thought, she lacks close to any form of body language to show it. Her expression may change, but not a hint of movement shows. She seems to have little in the way of sweeping physical gestures in general, though, so I've assumed it's part of her reserved nature. Is there a large electronics store near here? I take a quick look around, mostly finding clothing stores. After a few seconds, I notice a store with a bright blue sign some distance away that fits her description. Yep, it's just a bit ahead of us. Should we go in that direction? Thankfully, it's just the information she needed. With a nod, we start off and head towards Lily's unknown destination, landmarks being our guide. Here you go. 1 vanilla, 1 chocolate. I hand the money over the counter and take the cones to the railing that Lily's sitting on. I can't believe I let her trick me like this. Not only she led me to an ice cream stall, but also got me to buy her some. At least she gave me money for hers. Sure enough, she's patiently waiting where I'd left her. I guess she was planning on making the day an event rather than a simple shopping trip. I call out to her and slowly place the vanilla cone in her outstretched hands, being careful to make sure she has a good hold of it before letting go. At least her tastes are fairly normal. I don't know, I like things that are more than just vanilla. Wink, 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 wink. I was worried she'd ask for some weird flavor when she asked first. Here's the change. It's okay. Keep it. I moved to protest, but realized the futility in doing so over such a small amount. I slipped the coin into my pocket, supplementing my meager allowance ever so slightly. Lilly shows no signs of wanting to get up, so I take a seat behind her and start eating my own ice cream. The summer weather's nice. Hopefully it will hold out for a while. You too? You too. I'm beginning to think I'm the only person who prefers winter. I contemplate her statement for a long moment. Yeah, I think you might be. Honestly, I'm more of an autumn type of guy. It draws the intended reaction. She's cute when she's pouting. Still, I can't really imagine what's so good about winter. You can't go out without bundling up, and you still freeze anyway. I used to live further north, where there'd be plenty of snow to play in, so it's a little nostalgic. I don't like the heat very much either. At least you can wear a skirt, so don't complain about that. She gives an amused giggle, as we both get back to finishing off our already melting cones. I idly sit and watch the crowds going by as we eat, catching bits and pieces of idle conversations. Looking to Lilly, I see her dutifully licking her ice cream from the top downwards, blissfully unaware of the fact it's beginning to melt. It's melting. Where? Down a bit? She lowers her mouth from the top of the cone, but has no idea where exactly the ice cream's dripping. What follows is a game of guiding her left and right until she finally licks up that delicious ice cream. To any onlooker, it must seem absolutely bizarre. A girl, with her eyes closed, turning her cone over as the guy next to her gives her instructions on how to lick it. Strange variant of childhood blindfold games, maybe. Okay, I think we can stop. Okay, in good time we finally finish our treats. And while away the time conversing casually. Caught mid-sentence, Lilly perks her head in her trademark manner. It's an unmistakable sign that something's caught her attention. Ah, what is it? Is Akira somewhere over there? I think I heard her. I raise an eyebrow as I look in the direction she's facing, somewhat doubtful of her ability to pick out Akira's lone voice in the den. Sure enough, though, a blonde girl in a suit can be seen through the tiny gaps of people walking every which way. I raise a hand and wave, trying to catch her attention. Satao! Hey, Satao! She stops in her tracks and looks towards me, evidently noticing my calls as she does. I notice someone is walking beside her. Can't get a good look at whoever it is, though, before the two begin walking towards where we are. As they reach us, Lilly and I stand and dust ourselves off. Akira? Hey, you two. Ooh, who's this young so-and-so? She nods towards me, a gesture I quickly return. My gaze shifts towards the young girl, and our eyes meet. As they do, Akira plops a hand onto her head, a move that doesn't seem to faze her. I don't think we've met. I'm Hideaki. Pleased to meet you too, Hisao. A guy's name. Guess I dodged a bullet there. He bows, somewhat restrained by Akira's hand being on his head. Oh, Hideaki's here too? Are you well? Akira's been taking very good care of me, thank you. Akira grins as if to affirm the point, and rubs his head hard, dragging it around in a circular motion. His dreary face during this is somewhat amusing. Uncle's out on business again, so I'm just taking him around town for today. I'd have preferred to spend the day on a date with my boyfriend, but... Hideaki gives a small cough and redirects Akira's thought. As he does so, though, I find mine wandering. They're related? Is the green hair genetic? As first cousins? I suppose that explains why she's taking care of him in any case. Come to think of it, Hideaki, how did you know my name? Akira told me. Being Yamaku's student, I suppose you're disabled in some way? Not everyone in Yamaku's disabled. Which I only learned a handful of days ago. I give silent thanks to Shizune and Misha for their stream of information about how the school works. Because of them, I found out their school will accept practically anybody suffering from non-mental disabilities. It doesn't discriminate against healthy people either. It seems unlikely that many in good health would enroll there though. While the standard of education is pretty high, it's extremely isolated and very focused on helping the disabled students. You're dodging the question. Damn, he's sharp. Before he can say another word, he decides to take a stab at it himself. If I were to call it myself, you're hot. Akira looks mildly curiously at me. Her interest piqued as well. That sure was a lucky guess. How did you... You show no missing limbs or deformities, so external disabilities are out. Considering the lack of any strange mannerisms, it's also unlikely that you'd have any mental disability. But Yamaku doesn't take any mentally disabled students. I know. Leaving that aside, the only possibility is that of internal disabilities. I didn't know which one you might bear, so I guessed. Correctly as it turns out, and your reaction confirmed my guess. Well, if it isn't little, case closed boy. I don't actually remember his name. Young Sherlock. More than a little bemused, I look to Akira. She grins and shrugs, obviously taking some enjoyment out of her partner's deductions. He's sharp, yes, but more than a little unsympathetic. Logical, but lacking in tact. His attitude reminds me of Shizune, in a way. So does his looks. May I ask why he's staring at me? Surely I'm not that unusual a specimen. Does he not know how unusual he looks? I could overlook the spats and clothing as just being coincidental, but the ribbon in his hair is really is too much. This is entirely besides the point, though. I think we're getting a little questionable, boys. That's okay, though. Sorry, you just remind me of someone. Akira gives him a sharp jab with her elbow. Told you you're not that much different from her. He coughs into his hand and and maintains an upright and serious demeanor. I see you've met my sister then. Perhaps my full name might help you. I'm Hideaki Hakamichi. You're probably thinking of my sister Shizune Hakamichi. Oh, so he's Shizune's brother. Wait, if Hideaki is the son of Akira's... Let me just save it for you. Lilly and Shizune are therefore cousins? Yes. Lilly and Shizune are first cousins? Lilly groans in an uncharacteristically restrained... restrained manner. The reaction earns an amused smirk from her sister. The enmity between the two just took another meaning. I thought that it had been a simple matter of difficulty of communication between the two, but a family feud... That's right, Steve Harvey, a family feud makes things so much more complicated. You have the chance to win $10,000. Maybe 20? I don't know. You can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. She gives a half-hearted shrug. She mustn't give as much weight to the two's conflict as I do. Well, that's how it is. What are you two up to on this fine day? We're shopping for Haneka's birthday present. Oh, no. We're shopping for Haneka's birthday present. The day will be coming up soon, so this is the last chance we'll have before school starts again for the week. Kira makes a strange face as if Lilly had just said that the sky was blue and the clouds not white. Isn't her birthday on the 10th of next month? Yes. Why? Is something wrong? Akira's face seems to collapse. It's an utterly unbefitting expression for someone so rowdy and headstrong. The folks didn't call you yet. As Lilly shrugs her head cluelessly, I look to Hideaki to see if he knows anything about this. A simple shrug is his only answer. For a moment, Akira ponders what to do before smiling. What to do before smiling once again. The fact that she can hide her emotions so quickly and effectively is unsettling. Hey, Shorty! Sorry, but could you hang out with Hisao for a while? Oh god, I have to do this voice for more. I thought this was going to be a goof that was going to last like 3 seconds. But no. He nods and waves her off, Akira placing an arm on Lily's shoulder as she guides her away and out of earshot. And so I'm alone with Shoddy. So nice weather, isn't it? It seems so. It seems so. Mike Lazowski. No. I guess they dumped us. Indeed. What a farcical attempt at small talk. I have no idea how to talk to this guy, and his robotic responses aren't helping. Blood and a stone come to mind. Without another word, he begins to rock his feet in an obvious gesture of boredom with his discussion. He really is like a little kid despite his serious demeanor. Suspecting the conversation, I decide to accomplish what I came here to do in the first place. I'm going to search for a present. Coming? Not much else to do. In a little while, we come to a small shop beside a convenience store. Wait, how do they know where we're going? Does Lily have our phone number? Does Lily have a phone? Do I have a phone? I don't know. I know Kenji doesn't have a phone. For once, the store windows aren't filled with electronics and computer games, but dolls, stuffed bears, and all manners of wooden craft oddities. Othello's Antiques? An antique store? Well, if there's anything in this town that'd suit Hanako, I guess it'd be here. Or maybe a bookstore? I don't know. I reach for the old-looking door handle, but pull back at the last minute as I realize my companion's gone adrift. Not coming in? I'll just be in the newsstand for a while. Don't mind me. Gotta pick up some smokes. His voice makes it painfully obvious that he has zero interest in what's in the store, and that he doesn't feel obligated to follow me. As he wanders off without another word, I push the thick wooden door and enter the store, a bell above me ringing out. Luckily, this is Japan, so I can just leave this child here. The musty smell of old books and wooden shelves is distinctly anachronistic. I know, I can say anachronistic, but not enmity. Don't worry about it. I look to the counter beside the door. The graying man behind it sits there silently, reading a tattered book. He certainly fits the look of the place. Slowly wandering through the aisles, the person I'm reminded of as I inspect each handcrafted or imported oddity in turn isn't Hanako. Crouching down, I examine the ancient oak inside the shop window. At least 30 dolls, all varying in size. The only similarity is the long Victorian dresses they wear. I turn to the price tag of one that looks like waist height. It is not in my price bracket at all. I do the same to each of them, getting more and more depressed as they get smaller and smaller in size. That is, until I reach the smallest one. It's affordable, just yet of quality make, and with long auburn hair, and a little blue dress. I decide that it's the kind of present Hanako would appreciate. Pretty looking, and far from gaudy. After I carefully pick it up, I decide to keep looking around the store. I'm not sure whether it's because I like the atmosphere or simply out of curiosity. Peeking around the corner, before I go to the next aisle, I see that the shelves in this one are stocked with wooden toys, from toy cars to intricate automatons. Tucked behind a line of nutcrackers, I noticed a small wooden box. Small little plain wooden box. It feels surprisingly light as I pick it up with my free hand. The lid needs the smallest movement to pop open. The little metal drum inside beginning to rotate immediately. For seconds on end, I simply stand there, listening to the palm-sized melody. I really like music boxes. They're quite cute. As it plays, I take the tiny price tag in my finger and bring it up and bring it to my face. The minuscule cursive writing is taking some effort to read. It's affordable, sort of. Grimacing slightly, I close the lid and make my way to the counter with the doll and music box in hand. Oh god, not another character. When I lay the two on the counter, the old man behind it sits up and takes stock of them. He doesn't hide very well his surprise at someone of my age buying them. It's painful, but I hand over the money for the two and leave the store with a small opaque bag in hand. Hideaki being there takes me by surprise. Oh, hi. I thought you'd be at the newsstand. Akira gave me a call. She's waiting for us at the fountain with Lilly. At least that solves the issue of trying to find them again. Oh, okay, so Akira and Hideaki have some stuff. Have cell phones, that's the word. We head off back to the fountain. Hideaki's immaculate posture and presentation, despite his appearance, makes for a strange contrast even as we walk. Lilly and Akira standing there waiting for us, their faces hard to read. Hey, you should go. You ready to go, shorty? Hideaki's mood seems to improve as he rejoins her. See you, Lilly. Hisao, tell Hanako I said happy birthday. We will. Bye. Goodbye, Akira. And with that, the two disappear into the fracas of the afternoon city crowd. Turning to Lilly, I notice she's carrying a small bag. It's now that I realize why her disposition felt different from before, where Lily's typically the type to wear her emotions on her sleeve. Her expression and tone are clouded and difficult to read. It's more than a little off-putting, but given the effort she's making to hide her emotions, I doubt she wants to be cornered as to why she's feeling this way. Already bought Hanako a present? Yes. Have you? Yeah. Shall we head back to the bus stop then? Okay. There should be a bus back to Yamaku pretty soon. And with that, we begin to walk. It feels strange compared to before. Lily's hand on my forearm feels unusually tense, and the whole atmosphere is extraordinarily awkward. The silence continues for a long while. I really don't like seeing her like this. Hanako's birthday party is going to have to be held earlier. Is the 4th going to be alright for you? I have no other possible obligations anyway, so I reflexively nod. Only afterwards do I remember doing so is pointless and quickly answer by speech. She tries to collect herself, a task that looks almost pitiable, and how plain it is to see how distant her thoughts are. Sorry, Hisao. You said the bus would be coming soon, right? That's right. But now that she says it, I have an idea. Actually, do you have anything to do later today? I don't believe so. Why do you ask? This is the point where I'd normally take your hand and rush you somewhere, but even without that, you'll have to trust me, okay? I take her hand and gently lead her on. Her distant face replaced by one of mild surprise and curiosity. As the waitress sets up the cup of tea and cup of coffee that I'd ordered onto the table, I thank her before she takes her leave. Truth be told, I really just lucked out in finding this cafe. I didn't really know where I was going. Rather, I was looking for any cafe that looked relatively nice. Having managed to recover a little, Lilly tentatively sips at her coffee as I take a gulp of the coffee in front of me. As I hope, her face lights up as she realizes what flavor it is. Aha, this is wonderful. Hisao, how did you know that this was... I'd asked for French vanilla black tea, hedging my bets that it would be her favorite flavor, or at least one she liked. While I don't know much about tea, it sounded like one she might appreciate. On the basis of her liking vanilla ice cream, a tea connoisseur, I am definitely not. It was a lucky guess. You really like tea, don't you? She puts her teacup down and gives a tiny nod, that familiar small smile thankfully perched on her face once again. Drinking tea is calming, I think. With the amount you drink, you are sure... Are you sure you're not addicted to it? Caffeine addiction's pretty common nowadays. Did I ever say I wasn't? She lets out a little giggle as her head drops. We all have our vices, I suppose. Mine's hardcore, just black tar heroin. Just gotta shoot it between my toes nowadays. And there are worse things to be addicted to. Like the rush of taking another man's life. I mean, French vanilla black tea, huh? I'll have to remember that. For a while, we both silently drink. It's comforting to have someone like her nearby in such new surroundings, even if it's just for the two of us sitting in silence. I begin to wonder if this feeling is the same for her, until she sets down her cup. Hisao, do you mind if I ask you a slightly odd question? That depends on the question, I guess. I was wondering what your favorite color is. Everyone has one, after all. I almost reply before realizing why the seemingly mundane question is actually quite strange. My favorite color, but... She gives a pouting look, wanting me to answer anyway. While the answer seems unavoidably wasted on her, there isn't any harm in giving it. I've always had a thing for green. I'd say that's my favorite. You know, like the green that is my name. Hisao. Green, is it? What things do you think of when complimenting that color? I suppose grass fields and trees in summer. The army as well, with camouflage. Men always seem to like the military. But that sounds like a nice color. A very nice color. She nods her head a little, as if approving of the choice. Considering how foreign the concept of color is to her mind, labeling it by association seems reasonable enough. If everyone has a favorite color then, what's yours? White. I'm told that's the color of snow and of ice cream. You're no better than me then, if you only like a color because of your favorite food. I guess white is nice though too. Actually, Strimmer, white is a value. It's a tint. Whatever. Don't care. And speaking of colors, it'll be getting dark soon. Let me help you up. Lilly offers her hand, which I take in mine to help lever her up from her seat at the table. Its softness compared to mine takes me off guard, as I'm not really used to such casual contact. A girl is touching my hand. That's how you know you've been single for too long, Hisao. While it seems obvious why, it feels like just one more ladylike aspect to her. As her hand moves to her pocket, I quickly cut her off. Don't worry, I'll pay for this. Oh, Thank you, Hisao. She gives me an earnest smile at the gesture, a reward much greater than that of her words. By the time we step off the bus, it's well and truly dark. We make our way up the hill, both of us behaving a little awkwardly, probably because of today's events. While I'm still concerned over Lily's withdrawn nature after meeting with her sister, the fact that I managed to cheer her up, even slightly, feels like a personal victory. But it feels like the air between us has changed. Maybe it's only a bit, but something I don't think either of us has realized before. That was a date, wasn't it? It was. That doesn't elude either of us, the question's answer being so self-evident as to being rhetorical. Awkward as it may be, I don't think this feeling is bad. In fact, quite the opposite. I don't know what it is. I certainly can't be sure, but it feels like something more than a friendship. Understanding, empathy, searching for words to adequately describe it is difficult. Nonetheless, would you like to do this again sometime, Lily? Without shopping for presents? The tentative question is met with the same look from Lily as before. Her pale skin makes a rosy tint. Oh, blush, girl! Just slightly more noticeable, and her face, though still pointed to the street ahead of her, lowers just a little. Okay. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I hope Kenji doesn't find out about it. Katawa Shoujo. I walk down the hall of the girls' dormitories at my school bag in hand. A doll lies inside, carefully placed on top of a small box. I've been carrying the box in there for a while. For a while now, still not sure what to do with it. This whole situation, come to think of it, is bizarre. While I've known of Hanako's upcoming birthday party for a while now, I have no idea of exactly what the celebrations would be until I found a single note left in the abandoned tea room earlier. No offense to Hanako, but she seems like a two pizzas type of birthday party. Alright, guys. I think this is a good enough place to stop it. Stay safe, have fun, and remember, go on a date every once in a while, even if you're in a relationship, even if you're not in a relationship. I think I said stay safe and have fun already. Remember, one of those things is more important than the others. Bye!